listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo!
My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. till noon every Sunday. And I am your host, Angela Smarito. And in studio with me, we have Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand.
Hello, hello.
Melissa is our co-host and our videographer. And if you go to baadradio.com, and that's BaaDradio.com, you can see all of our other videos. You can also go to our YouTube channel. I need to remember to keep telling people that we have a YouTube channel. To subscribe to our YouTube channel, and all of the videos are on there as well. And if you go to strikingbrand.com, you can see Melissa's other work, because in addition to being a videographer, she also is a photographer. And before I jump into everything, I want to thank our sponsor, Ground Up Property Service. The Florida heat is here, so now is the time to get your irrigation system serviced by Ground Up Property Services. And you don't wait until your grass is dying, which is happening kind of to us a little bit right now. Call today, 407-468-4295, or visit groundupinc.net. It's like one of those things where you have like all the grass looks really good, and then you just have like one little brown patch, and I'm like, why is it? And I'm like, can you just get the hose out there? And he's like, it's getting water, so it's something other than water.
Right.
So welcome John Kennedy with Forge IT Consulting back into the studio today. He has been one of our long-term sponsors, so thank you. We were talking before we got started about all the summer plans we have going on. Sounds like it's going to be a busy summer.
Bunch of traveling.
Always.
So you said that you take a family trip each year?
Every year, yeah. I've been going to the same beach in North Carolina since I was 2.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's so cool.
Is it like an Airbnb that you guys go to or something?
No, my family owns one of the houses on the island.
Nice.
And then the last few years, we've been renting a separate house so that my mom and my sister would use the house we own, so we're all there together.
Right. Oh, that's so great. That's some great memories for the girls, too. Like
Absolutely.
you said. I remember growing up, and my parents would always take us on the long vacation. The only problem is like the drive with me and my sisters in the car.
Oh, yeah.
It can be brutal.
Yes.
I actually remember kind of liking that. I kind of like zone out and like look out the window. And so now my kids, if they don't have anything to do, they're like, I'm so bored. And I'm like, that old person's like, look out the window. Just roll their eyes at me. I'm like,
Well, I can't read in a car, unfortunately. So that was always a disadvantage. And I can't look at a phone. Back then it was a book. Now it's a
all
phone.
about the audiobook.
yeah.
The family audiobook, even better once the kids are old enough. But when they're not old enough, they can sit in the back with iPads now. And I'll listen to a book.
Nice. Well, they have way better ways of being entertained with technology, which brings us, you see that segue? Technology. So tell everybody real quick, what does IT stand for?
Information technology. So that's basically your computers, your iPhones, your printers. Basically, if it connects to the internet or connects to something else that connects to the internet, it's an IT thing.
Right. And there's no word to describe how important that is in our lives these days.
That's true.
I wanted to talk, off the get-go, I was talking about what's going on with this email thing. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but I want to revisit that regarding what's happened in the world of email.
Email delivery.
So can you describe to us what's going on, and how can businesses or even people with their own personal email make sure that their emails are being delivered?
So the main thing is Google and a few other of the major providers of free email accounts have decided that they are no longer going to accept email, especially marketing-like email, from domains that don't use specific types of outbound email security. Things that say, hey, my email coming from such and such domain, like Forge IT Consulting, can only be sent by these servers. It's going to have this signature on it. And if it doesn't have those things, this is what you should do with it. If you don't have those 3 things, which are SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, then
I'm already confused, but
your emails might be more likely to go to spam. On top of that, if you are using a Google or other free email account to do business marketing
Yahoo,
that is
Gmail.
heavily frowned upon
Mhm,
now.
mhm.
Google is blocking a lot more of those nowadays. That used to be the thing. You get your business, you say you're a business at gmail.com,
Right,
you
right.
do all your business stuff with that, you sign up for some sort of email marketing campaign software, you use that same email address, and it goes everywhere because it's a gmail.com address. It's just gonna work. Not anymore. They're looking out for that. It is much more likely to go into a spam box as a result.
So what are those 3 things that you mentioned before? Is that
Sure.
something that's just qualifying you as like a business website who's doing the right things?
Like not a
Pretty
bot?
much.
Like
Yeah. It's basically saying this email domain, whatever it is being sent by the right people. Because a lot of people, the thing about email is that it's not something that was made with security in mind in the first place. So back when it was created, none of this seemed like a big deal to them. And so, any server can send email as any domain it wants to. There's no way to block that. You can't do it.
Okay.
The only thing you can do is add these other things that say, okay, if an email comes from this domain, you need to check these other things to see whether or not it matches what it should. So like some random, spammer sends an email from Forge IT Consulting. Any server that's set up to accept email properly is going to go check, hey, did that come from a server that's allowed to send emails from that
Forge,
domain?
Okay.
No. Okay, we're going to block it or put it in spam. Or say it did come from a server that it's allowed to do that, but it's not signed. Okay, that's
When you
not
say
correct.
signed, what do you mean signed?
Signed is so DKIM is what that is, and it's digital keys and I can't remember, but anyway, the point is that it uses a certificate essentially. It digitally puts a certificate on the email that says, hey, this is stamped on the end of the email. This is the security.
These are legit.
Exactly. And then
So you're talking about an auto signature.
kind of, but it's not one that you or me or anybody else actually sees. Only the receiving server sees that.
Okay.
And then it goes and checks a DNS record out on the internet to see, okay, does this signature match what it's supposed to be there? And that's it.
Can they fake any of those things?
It'd be really hard.
I'm sure
to
there's
do
probably
that.
some scammers
It
out there
can be
right now
done.
trying to figure it out.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it's all a matter of, is it hard or is it easy to get around? The harder it is, the more you're going to block the people that aren't doing all the extra work to try to get around it.
Right.
That's the best you can ever do when it comes to cybersecurity.
So was this triggered for the amount of scams that are out there, or just?
Yeah.
I mean, because like I said, there's one thing, there's spam, and then there's scams. There's
Right.
like 2 separate things in my
It's
head.
both things. It's definitely the rise of phishing and scamming that became the impetus for this, I would imagine. I don't work for Google. I can't tell you for sure, but that seems to be the case. It's definitely happened around the same times when this became a bigger problem, because these types of security existed before Google started mandating it. The big push was Google mandating it.
Right. So, how easy is it for a business to make themselves compliant to where their emails are not going to be put into spam?
So
And I'm just looking at the time, so I know that we have a clock now, John.
oh, excellent.
I know. So we have
So
a minute 18.
I've got
till
a minute
break.
left. Okay, so the basics are nearly any email provider, Microsoft, Google, etc., is going to have a list of instructions on how to do this, provided you have access to the admin area of your email provider and you have access to your DNS. You can do it yourself if you want to look it up. The
Is
other
it
option,
hard?
It's not terribly hard. It only takes me 15 minutes, but
If
it
it
could
takes
take
you 15 minutes, it's going to take somebody else like 4 hours.
it's entirely possible, yes. So I mean, it's a matter of, do you want to do it yourself, or do you just want to have somebody else do it real quick for you for a fairly cheap price?
Okay, so fairly cheap price is like around
25 to 50 bucks.
All right.
Oh, let's do
Done.
that. Sold.
You are sold,
sold. I'm
right
not
here.
spending 4 hours on my computer doing that mess.
Exactly.
Well, like you said, I think the problem is that a lot of people don't realize. I mean, did something was there some big, massive information that went out telling people,
Yes, there
business owners?
was.
Okay, we're going to talk about that when we get back. So you guys stay tuned for more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. Summer is here, and so is it time for a trip to Premier Couple Superstore. They have a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. All right, we're here with John Kennedy with Forge IT Consulting, and before break, I kind of because I'm concerned about what's going on with the email, because I worry about my work emails going to people's spam folders, or me getting frustrated because I'm not getting a response in something that's time sensitive. And so my question is how are we all informed that this was going to happen?
So Google and the other companies that started doing this started announcing it. So they
On
started
what
putting
platforms were they announcing it?
so their own platforms, stuff like Twitter, other places where they can get it out to the people that actually pay attention to this stuff. So mostly to people like me. I got an email directly from Google about it because I host my own personal email with Google. So I got an email about it from there. Anybody that was hosting their email on Google would have gotten one. Microsoft sent their own email to anybody that was hosting on Microsoft saying, hey, Google is making this change. You should be thinking about making this change. And then therefore, for all of the clients that I manage, I made sure that, hey, this is happening. This needs to be changed. It's going to take about this much time. Let me know when and how I can do that for you. And if I need any of your assistance, we need to schedule it. But that was it. Went out there, got it done. All of my clients were done.
And for you, what did you do? You just you don't use VPN. What is the system that you use?
So I usually have my own admin access to my clients' Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace. And then on top of that, I tend to have some sort of delegated access to their DNS. So if they're with Google, it's GoDaddy, it's pretty easy to delegate access from there. Cloudflare is very easy as well. Other ones, sometimes I would have to just log into their computer with them and work with them to get it done if they don't have me on some sort of delegated access, which makes it take a little bit longer, but not
my
much.
point being is what kind of difficulty was it during the business day? Not very
No,
much,
not much,
right?
because all of the changes being made don't affect your ongoing business in terms of like anything going down. These changes are all being done to your email system and to your DNS, and can be done live with no downtime.
Right. See, that's where I think people are like, oh, where am I going to schedule time to take care of this? But really, it's like a no-brainer.
Right.
Like, just call them, take, what'd you say, 15 minutes, and then you're done.
15 to 30 minutes, it's done.
Especially if he's delegated, you could just do it over
Right.
time type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I already had the access, then I just went ahead and did it. I didn't need anybody's interaction with it.
Are you seeing a lot of people calling you going, my emails are not working
It is
properly?
definitely happening more and more over the past couple of months. I even worked with somebody that I met through BNI that all he does is email marketing. That's what he does.
Was it Bryce?
No,
Or
it's
is-
Ken.
Yeah.
And he hadn't set this up yet because he doesn't get into the weeds of how email works on the back end like I do.
He just talks about the content, right?
Exactly. He's about the content and how to make the marketing work through email. He's not worried about the mechanics of how the email actually works. So he needed my assistance to set that up, and I got it done for him. 15 minutes, done.
That's very nice. Well, I think that, like I said, I think a lot more people are noticing now because it's having an impact on whether or not these emails are getting through. And like I said before, it's like I worry about time-sensitive material when you've got a program. Like for me, it's an advertising program that's getting ready to start, and we're waiting on certain things. And people are like, "Why are you sending it?" I'm like, "I sent it 2 days ago, and it's in their spam folder."
Right.
So that's a concern.
Absolutely.
for
Anytime I'm
me.
doing any kind of business networking these days, that's one of the top things I talk about. I just ask, hey, anybody enjoy having their emails go to spam when they send them? Do you enjoy hearing from a company that says, hey, you got to check your spam folder? Our emails might have gone there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Tell either one of those people to come
Call me. Actually, I think I said that to somebody today or myself. But you do get that also. Like I know that if you're doing anything with like Safe Touch or anything like that they use email, they'll always say that check your spam folder if it's not there. So
And that can be those can be other issues, especially if they were doing it well before this particular change happened. It can be related to your content of your email as well, or if your domain has been used improperly several times in the past, and so therefore had gotten blacklisted through that.
Right.
Especially with the big companies, the AOLs, the Googles, that kind of stuff. But interesting enough, that is a good reason to not use your main domain for marketing type email.
Okay, explain what you mean.
So you have your domain, like me, it's forgeitconsulting.com.
I have BaaDradio.com.
You have BaaDradio.com.
And you have StrikingBrand.com.
If you want to send an email that's like an email blast, where it's like some sort of like, this is legitimately marketing email. This is something that someone might not want to be in. They want to make sure that they can opt out of it if they don't want to, yada, yada, yada. Those types of emails, if you send them using a subdomain, instead of BaaD Radio, instead of Forge IT, instead of Striking Brand, you use newsletter.baadradio or newsletter.strikingbrand or info.forgeitconsulting.com as the domain that you're sending out from. It doesn't impact the top level domain as much as it would if you're sending it from your main domain.
When you say impact, like have a negative impact, you're making me think of like a credit score kind of thing.
Exactly.
That's
Oh,
exactly the kind of way it works. So say you're sending out those marketing emails and people at AOL, because I'm going to pick on AOL users because I'm sorry, it's been around a long time.
Yeah.
I still have my
Usually,
Hotmail account.
Those are the older people for email. A lot of times they will just click the spam button when they see something that's spam because they don't want to see it anymore. They don't read the email. They don't look for the opt-out link that has to be there. So you might be doing all the right things in terms of marketing email to make sure that you're only sending it to people that have opted in. You're allowing them to opt out easily, but they're still hitting the spam button, and that's negatively impacting your ability to send to AOL.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
So to make sure that your business only emails, the things that you're trying to do to a client back and forth, don't get affected the same way as your marketing emails, you can use two separate domains. Use a subdomain for marketing and you use your main domain for actual business email.
Interesting.
I didn't even know that made a difference whether you hit the spam thing or the unsubscribe link. In the
It makes a huge difference.
Well, I want to talk to you about Froggers then.
Okay.
Because like I do all the marketing for Froggers and we do email blasts from Froggers.com. And it does come from a Froggers.com email address. I want to say it's marketing at Froggers.com or one of those. But I can actually see the analytics on the backside. Like I can see how many people it's delivered to, how many people open it, and then how many people opted out as the price. But it's not usually a high percentage. It's usually because I'm giving them some dollar.
Opt out?
Yeah. It's usually because I'm saying 5 off 25 or a free dessert for Mother's Day.
Right. If it's marketing that they're going to like anyway, then yeah, it's less likely.
But I hate the idea of thinking that I might be hurting the Froggers.com.
So then do the subdomain thing.
Exactly.
That's why I was going to say I'd talk to you.
Yeah, whatever it is that you're using to send those kinds of emails out, a lot of them, like the Postmarks of the world or the SendGrids or the other services that send out blasted emails of that type.
Is that the no reply ones?
Okay. Oh, oftentimes it'll be no reply at, because you're not going to be able, you're generally not going to set up that subdomain to receive email. You're only going to use it to send out. So no reply is often, it's no reply at whatever it is. And you'll notice that if you look into a lot of the bigger companies that do this kind of stuff, you know, your Adobes of the world, the Microsofts of the world, anytime they're sending out marketing emails of that kind, they absolutely use a subdomain.
Okay. No, that's actually incredibly interesting information.
Right.
So much stuff that we don't know. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk, and I'm watching the clock there too, but I still want to talk about email when we get back. But I want to talk about any new scams that are coming up, because I wanted to ask you about this whole email signature thing that you're working with my daughter Anna on, because I'm very curious about how does that work with that, and what kind of impact does it have on marketing? Like when I'm sending out my emails, because it sounds a lot more complicated than just adding an auto signature to the back or at the bottom, you know, like Angela at BaaDradio.com or whatever. But so we have a couple of things to go over, but I definitely want to talk about the scams too. So, all right, you guys, stay tuned for more BaaD Radio coming up.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Well, welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. And don't miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. With 4 great locations, there is bound to be one near you. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's, hoppin' with food and fun. And we're here with John Kennedy with Forge IT Consulting, and I feel like I'm just kind of like interrogating you regarding like all of this email stuff. And
Right.
so I mentioned something before the break-in. So my daughter, Anna, has an anna@baadradio.com email now, and she wanted to do her own signature that's different than mine because she works on social media management, but she's doing it under the business at a distance business. And so she reached out she brought it up to me, and I'm like, just make an auto sig, I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. She's like, no, Mom, it's more complicated than that. And that's when I told her to call you.
Right.
So tell us, what is it that she's trying to do, and why does somebody need, why is it not as simple as just adding an auto signature?
So when you're sending an email and you want to put a signature on it, there's 2 main options. Option 1, use whatever email program you're using, whether that be an app on your phone or Outlook on your computer or Outlook Web Access or whatever it is that you're using, your Google account. You set it up inside of there, and it'll send out whatever it is on any of the emails you send from that particular program. But if you use a different one, it'll send out a completely different one, and that you have to set up separately. So if your phone sends out one that just says sent from my iPhone, or
Right.
your Google account says sent from my Gmail account and your name and your phone number, and your Outlook has this nice long one that's got all your contact information and a signature block that's got your logo and all that other fun stuff in it, they're all different. If you want them all to be exactly the same, use a service that stamps that same signature on any email you send, no matter where you send it from.
But as long as it's from that email address.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's the thing that I've been using since I started my company, because I knew about it from way back. I'm a reseller for the software. It's called Exclaimer, is the one that I like. There are others out there, but that one works really well, and they've got pretty cheap products as well. So, for instance, the one that you're using along with Anna is 90 cents, like 10 cents less than $1 per month per mailbox.
Oh, that's tough, man.
Budget.
But the
I don't
point
know about
is,
that one.
you create a signature inside of their signature manager. It looks the same no matter where it's sent from, and it uses some of the variables that it can pick up from the company that's hosting your email. So Microsoft inside of it, for each user account that has an email address, it'll have your name, you can have your phone number, your company name, a whole bunch of demographic information tied to your particular user. And those are all can be used as variables in making the signature. So instead of saying on the signature block, Anna Smarito, it says display name. It says telephone number. It says company name, because it's going to just pull all of that data from Microsoft and each individual user account.
Okay.
And then it also has the ability for you to upload a particular photo for each user inside of Exclaimer itself and say, okay, I want to use this user's photo in this particular block part of the signature. And so you get to create this signature that's exactly the same for everybody in your company. It's branded exactly the same way, and nobody has to worry about setting it up anywhere. You
I
set
like
it up
that.
once, and it's set up for everybody.
Right. But can you change the title of the person?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
title, display name, telephone numbers, websites. There's all kinds of stuff that's demographic information inside of Microsoft that it can pull as a variable instead of being, written directly into the signature.
Yeah. I know that auto signatures to me are very important because what I'm trying to, like, when I first start doing business with somebody, I don't always just put them right into my phone. But I I'll do a search for them. Like if I'm like, oh, I need to reach out to this person, I'll do a search for them in my email, and then I'll get their contact information from their auto signature. So it messes me up tremendously when they don't have it in there.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay, what's your phone number? Why is it not in here?
Right.
Because it's like I said, to me, it's a very important thing to be able to have your auto signature with all your correct information And if you have multiple ways of people getting in touch with you, just put them there.
Yeah.
How much time saving is it for your clients when you send in an email that has all of your contact
Yes.
information in your email every time, so they don't have to figure out, okay, how do I get in touch with you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Same for your clients. If they're emailing you back saying, hey, I want this, this, and this thing, one of the things that always slows me down is, okay, what's the best number to reach you?
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
your phone number's not in your signature. I have no idea how to contact you by phone. I
Right.
need to contact you by phone. This,
Right.
that step can take a long time,
Mhm.
but it doesn't have to.
Oh, I'm just gonna when I get that from now on, I'm gonna be like, hey, can you call my friend John? I need to get that fixed, so that it's easier for me to call you.
Yeah. And so other people too. Like you're not the only one
Right.
having that problem.
One other thing that's really useful with doing that kind of signature is you don't have to necessarily have only one signature either. You can have multiple different types of signatures depending upon what type of job you have in the company,
Right.
what type of email you might be sending. For instance, every email that I send out that's a fresh email, it's not a reply, has a disclaimer at the bottom of it saying, hey, this email is only intended for this person. If it's not for you, it was sent in a mistake. This is privileged information, that kind of a thing.
Right.
Lawyers love that kind of stuff. Doctors love that kind of stuff. But every reply that I send doesn't have that because
Right.
it's already a reply. They've already seen that.
Mhm.
I'm not the one sending that first email. It can't be a mistake. It doesn't need
Mhm.
to say all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then if I want to send out a marketing email that has information about exclaimer in it, all I have to do is have exclaimer in my subject line, and it'll use that one instead.
Dang, that's awesome.
Yeah, it can get real complicated, but it can be really useful.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think that simple things like that can really make a huge difference in your business.
Mhm.
So, well, thank you for explaining that.
Mhm.
You
Like,
can tell me why it's important from a marketing standpoint. I can just tell
Well,
you how to do it.
that's so much for marketing. I think that we kind of established that is like it being for people to have the easy access to your contact information is just utmost important. If you've got in my business, if you've got 3 different people that are courting the same client and you're the easiest one to get in touch
Mhm.
with, then you give yourself a benefit over that
Absolutely.
other one. If I have like a legitimate email as opposed to a Gmail or a
Mhm.
Yahoo, then I've got one up. You know what I mean? There's a
Mhm.
million different reasons why that email and the way that it looks and the usage of it is important in business, especially if you're in a business that has a lot of people trying to do it. You
Mhm.
know, so you have to make sure that you're the best.
Right.
So yes, that is why that's extremely important in the marketing
Mhm.
marketing world. All right, so let's talk about a little bit about I want to talk just briefly on scams, and I want to talk a little bit more on Forge IT. So you said on the break, nothing new really on the horizon.
Honestly, there isn't. That's the thing about cyber criminals and what they're doing in general is that phishing is wildly effective and smishing, which is SMS phishing, is wildly effective. So even with people getting more knowledgeable about it, it still works enough
Right.
because they're just able to send so many
I would
for dirt cheap.
I would think with I'm so sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
would think with AI, it's just going to get harder and harder to delineate between something that's real and something
Yeah.
that's fake.
I'll
Absolutely.
tell you a quick story. When Tom and I are getting ready to leave on our vacation, I got a Chase fraud text.
Mhm.
And it said, have you tried to Zelle $1,000 out of your account? And I immediately panic and I respond, no.
Mhm.
Tom was like, no. He goes, call Chase. Call
Yes.
Chase. It wasn't them, right?
Right.
So the
Oh my
number
God.
called me back,
Mhm.
right?
Of course
and I'm
they
sitting
did.
at the airport and I'm
Yeah.
like,
You're on the hook already.
oh no, but here's the thing is like now I know
Now
that
you
they're a
know.
scammer, right? So I
Mhm.
didn't get to the phone. They hung up. I text them. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I missed you. Call back again. I did that. I messed with them for probably about 45 minutes
Mhm.
until I finally just said a few choice words.
You're doing God's work.
It was so justifying because I kept saying, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I just went to the bathroom. I missed you. Call back again. And you know what I mean? And they would call and call and call. And like I said, it was a beautiful thing. And Tom and I laughed and laughed and laughed. But yeah, they didn't get me this time.
That's good.
So
That's good.
I was very proud of myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw the Chase fraud,
Right.
I immediately went into panic mode.
You're
And
not
I-
going to know the number that they send from in the first place.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's really easy to fake it.
Yeah, so listen to my husband, the voice of reason. So
Mhm.
anyway, all right, we're gonna go to break. And when we get back, we're gonna talk more with John with Forge IT Consulting. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. I also want to give a huge thank you to BoltzLegal.com, Crazy Muscle Nutrition, Imbalanced Bodywork, our very own Forge IT Consulting, and Body Street in Winter Park. So with Forge IT Consulting, we've been talking about a whole lot of stuff so far today, but now I want to talk a little bit about your business.
Okay.
I asked you during the break, I was like, so what's going on? You know, what are some of the things that are going on for you? Because that's really our goal here is to help grow your business.
I appreciate that.
And you mentioned the trade. So talk to me about that a little bit.
So trade companies often are set up in such a way from an IT standpoint where they set it up at the minimum that it could do to do the things that it needed to do and then left it that way. And whoever set it up, 9 times out of 10, either was a part-time IT person or somebody that was just techie enough to get it working. And then they've got just a hodgepodge of things going on together to make it work.
Now, are you talking about like their invoicing system? What are exactly?
It could be anything. It could be their email. It could be their CRM. It could be their invoicing. It could be their
website?
Phone systems, websites, everything. The problem is that they get up and running and they get busy. And then when they're busy, they don't have time to go back and fix it.
I can name about 5 of them right now that could use some help.
So, I mean, a lot of times it's that same attitude that, you know, anybody in the IT field, because honestly, we're not that different from the trades. We don't know everything when we first start out as a business. There's going to be something that we missed. And if you're not working with an IT professional of some sort, you're going to miss all of the IT things that you don't know about.
Okay.
So like the email signature thing, you didn't know about the email signature thing. Anna was like, I know this thing can be done and let's find the better way to do it. And then I told her about it and she's like, oh, we're definitely doing it that way.
Right.
So it's those kinds of things. And unfortunately the trades they seem to be underserved. Not a whole lot of IT companies work with the trades, not a lot of contact between them. And so I've wanted to make sure that I can get in front of more of them because I think the main stumbling block seems to be cost.
They're worried about it
They're
costing
worried
too much?
Yeah, worried about it costing too much. And it really doesn't have to cost too much, especially when you're working with somebody that's going to be not charging you based off of the size of your business rather than just on the amount of work that you need.
Yeah.
If you are fairly, put together and you only have a couple of problems that need to be fixed and maybe 1 or 2 things that, you haven't talked about because you didn't know about them, well, we can get those things in place, get those things fixed. You don't have to have an ongoing cost. You can work with somebody like me that will do it hourly and you call me when you need me and that's it.
And the end game, though, is you're talking about increasing or improving their efficiencies, right?
Exactly. That's the main goal. I'm an efficiency nut. I love efficiency. Anything I can do to be more efficient in anything, driving, IT, gaming, anything, efficiency is trumps.
Are you the guy that tries to beat like the Google Maps?
Absolutely. And I almost always do.
Do you?
I do that too.
Oh my God, really? Not me, man. I'm like slow poke.
No, I'm like, we'll see about that.
Exactly. I can beat that by at least 2 minutes.
I'm going to see how much time I can cut.
Right.
Exactly.
No,
I know a slightly better route than that. And I'm going to take that and it'll save me 5 minutes. Absolutely.
Tom did mention to me the other day that I was driving much more aggressively. And I was like, well, it's because everybody around me is being more aggressive.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so yes, more efficient.
Yes, efficiency is king. It can save anything that can save you time, gives you more time to work on something that actually makes you money.
And with the trades, that's what it is.
And that's
it's
key.
time,
Exactly.
right?
It's all about time. So anytime you can save time on something that is not generating you money so that you can generate more money,
Right.
more likely it's going to cost you less to get that thing fixed and more efficient than it is to just leave it in place.
But with Forge IT Consulting, do you like set up systems for like what is it, credit cards and things like that?
Point of sale credit
Point of sale,
cards
sorry,
isn't something that I work with directly. I do work with several different companies that I can refer that kind of business to.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I mean, that's something fairly specialized. You've got to be working with some kind of bank or point of sale or some other company of that nature.
Right. Well,
I can make
know-
sure the infrastructure is in place for it to work.
I know some businesses that don't even have the capability of accepting a credit card at this point. You know what I mean? It's like
And it's
there's-
not hard.
Yeah, it's still like, can you write a check or write a check kind of thing? And I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, which I get because you don't have to pay those processing fees, but there's still, I mean, like you said, efficiency.
Right. And
Mhm.
I mean, that's always been my point of view. I've always made sure that for my own invoicing, I give you all of the options that you want. You can send me a check, you can use a credit card, you can use an ACH payment. I get different amounts of money on each, but I'm not going to charge you on it because I just want to get paid.
Yeah. I mean, I like you said with the credit card thing too. I don't invoice enough of it for it to be like a huge impact on my business, but I can see like the more amount that, like I said, that 3% or
I mean, that's
whatever.
where I am. That's why. That's why. I mean, we have the same issue. Like
Yeah.
just even invoicing because I want to do ACH because I don't want any percent taken out.
Right, exactly.
Uh-huh.
So,
But
I
then
mean,
it's a pain in the butt. It makes it a lot harder for people. To
Well,
be able to-
because my bank wanted to charge me to do that, so that's why I'm like, I'm just gonna Venmo.
you also get
Yeah.
it slower. Like anybody that sends me their pays their invoices via ACH, I don't get paid for like at least 7 days.
Is that the same as an e-check?
Yes,
Okay, that happened. Yeah.
exactly. So it just takes longer, and I'd rather just have it be done.
Yeah.
I'm willing to pay the extra to just have it be done.
Right. Well, like I said, when it gets to be a bigger amount, that's when you're kind of like, ouch. Ooh,
Yeah.
that hurts a bit.
Right.
And there are ways to do that. I mean, I get to hear about it from people.
I want to
on a
hear. He
regular
sounds like he's got
basis.
some ideas going
I
on
mean,
over
the
there.
main thing is that you have to do it the right way. You have to, if you're going to charge some sort of fee or increase your cost based off of taking a credit card versus a different one, you have to do it the right way. And talking to a professional that does point of sale and does payment processing is the best way to go about it. You don't want to do that on your own.
But you can recommend that as an IT
Yeah.
professional. So, like, if I were to give you a referral to an electrician, and right now they don't offer paying via credit card, but I think that they should have that option. I
Right.
think that a lot of people, I think it's going to open up a lot more business for them. You could help them get that set up and then recommend.
And of course, there's always the old school way of doing it where you just charge a little bit more all the time and you make extra when people don't pay by credit card. I mean, you can always go that direction too. That's always been legal. That's the way people have been doing it forever. I mean, there's no reason not to, honestly.
Right. No, I get it. There's so many different ways that people can manage the business, but I mean, there's no doubt about it though that IT is here to stay. So yes, you are. You're kind of like one of our. You're here for good.
For
That my old
sure.
company loved to say that we were recession proof. And I don't know about that necessarily being the case, but it's definitely one of those things that people need it. Everybody needs it, and that's not going to stop because there's going to be complicated stuff that you don't know about that's not in the public conscience that we have to handle.
And technology's just going to advance. So-
Exactly. I have to stay on top of it. You don't.
Right. Well, like I said, I remember before you and I met saying, I wish there was just somebody that I could call to fix something that was going on with Aiden's computer. So now I have that person that I can
Right.
call, and it's a wonderful thing. So we're about to wrap things up. Like I said, that clock, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but why don't you go ahead and give all your contact information? Like I said, you got time.
Okay. So I've got phone
Mhm.
407-318-2671. Email is John, John, at forgeitconsulting.com. That's FORGE itconsulting.com. You can also go to the same website at forgeitconsulting.com. And right on the website, there's a button to schedule time directly with me on my calendar.
Love that.
All right. And you can reach me at melissa@strikingbrand.com or my website is strikingbrand.com.
And I'm Angela. You can reach me at angela@baadradio.com. You can also text me at 321-303-6424. I want to thank our sponsors and a huge thank you for tuning in. Have a great week. And thank you, John, for being here.
Thanks for having me.